Welcome to the Grizzled Warmaster. My name is Doug, and welcome to a bonus Saturday video. We had a Warhammer preview today, Twitch live stream, which revealed a lot of stuff for Warhammer Age of Sigmar and other Mortal Realms related games. It was strictly focused on the Mortal Realms. There was no 40k stuff, but there was a lot of awesome stuff that was shown off today, so I wanted to do a quick reaction, review, kind of speculation video about these things. So let's jump right in and look at the new Luminar things. I am generally not going to play the little vignette videos they put out. They are pretty cool, so I would recommend you go check out the community page and watch them. They're only like a minute long. But really what we want is to look at these models here. These are Bladelords, and they are confirmed to be Venari. So they will benefit from the Shining Company rule, which is very cool. And if we are to go on the description that Peachy, and I forget the other guy's name, went over on... Was it Peachy? I forget who. Actually, no, it was Adam and Eddie. That was who was doing it. If we were to go on their descriptions that they gave, these guys might get some special rule like reroll ones against shooting attacks or something like that. They seem to, they could have been hearkening back to the lore masters, or not the lore masters, sword masters of Hoth, where it was said they could, chop an arrow out of the air, or that could be a reference to a special rule they're getting where they're so good with their swords that they can, knock an arrow out of the air as it's coming at them, which I think would translate into a reroll ones against shooting attacks. But man, these guys are cool looking. Oh, these are some great models. It looks like they're all going to have this back banner, like con type thing from if you're a Wheel of Time fan. But it's the whole unit. It's not just their leader. They all have it. And I'm assuming the guy with two blades is probably the leader of the unit. Otherwise, I'm not sure why you'd have somebody with two blades. Notice that those blades look like they're basically the size of the other ones. So maybe he's dual wielding a greatsword, great swords, which would be awesome. Yeah, so they've got some really cool looking poses. You got some runes on the blades. These guys just look amazing. I am really excited to get these, and they'll have to have some really bad rules for me to not include these guys in my army. They look fantastic. All right, let's move on. We've got the Ballista. Again, it's a Venari, but because it's a single model, we won't have to worry about that. They are Star Shard Ballistas. Now, they did mention in the live stream that these things here are some sort of ether quartz powered shielding devices that protect the crew here. So I'm not sure what that means. Are we still going to see that? They're probably going to have a 4-up armor save. Are they going to get to reroll saves, or maybe they're minus to hit? Sticking with the Venari theme. I'm not sure what they meant by that, but it is pretty cool. I do love the set of bolts here behind it. It almost looks like this guy's wearing them as a backpack. Obviously, that's not the case. There seems to be some sort of stand over here you can see in the background. But man, this thing looks cool. However, it is going to have some awesome rules for you to sacrifice those points to take out 10 archers. So it's yet to be seen whether or not it's got rules that would lead you to go, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice 10 sentinels in order to take one of these ballista. And then surprisingly, we got a Shrine of Luminar, a terrain piece, and it looks fantastic. I'm guessing that this and this are on the ground, and then everything's, the other stuff's all floating above. There seemed to be an indication in their description that you could put like a wizard up here and he'd gain some benefits from the shrine. They obviously they didn't go into rules for any of these, but their descriptions kind of hinted at some things, and one of those seemed to be that a wizard occupying this would gain some benefits. Now, how you get, maybe it counts as a fortification. As soon as you're next to it, you can put them inside it. Would be awesome. I'm looking forward to that, to seeing what this thing's going to be like. I will own it one way or the other. I don't think there is a single model in the Lumineth range that I won't own, even if I don't put it on the table. They are some amazing miniatures. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some of the other reveals we had. One, we had already seen these Lord Wardens, I think they were called, something like that. But this is a special named character version. This is Luriel Ulthral, Warden of Ymetrica. So he's a special character. Obviously, he's going to probably have the Ymetrica keyword. He's got like a Demon Bane spear. Cool. But the Lumineth have too many named characters as it is. Nobody to give artifacts to, or limited people to give artifacts to. So while he is cool and I will own the model at some point, I will probably not include him in an army unless he's got amazing abilities. Or I want to run more than one type of Lumineth army, which may. Like I said, I will probably own every model in this range. So there'll be lots of ways to constitute a force. But let's go ahead and move on. These are, again, named characters, so kind of disappointing, but they are named below here as Elania and Elithor, and they are Eclipsian War Sages. And I guess Elania here is the student of Teclis, and Elithor here is the student of Tyrion. And they, I guess, as Eclipsian War Sages, you've got the moon eclipsing the sun. So they, work in tandem like Tyrion and Teclis, represent that kind of twin dichotomy thing. Amazing. The owl actually has a name. It's Athene, I think they said it was. So calling back to Athena, and owls is wisdom and stuff. So very cool model. Again, I will own it, but because it's a named character, I don't know that I'll be able to squeeze it into an army, but we'll see. Next, again, not a named character. Finally, we've got a Cenari Lore Seeker. The unfortunate thing with this is they're trying once again to balance magic and combat abilities, which ends up making the person either overpriced or not as effective in either of the two things as they could be, but still a cool model and interesting lore. The reason he is part warrior, part mage is he goes solo around the realms, seeking out like artifacts of power and trying to consolidate them into the Lumineth's hand, because they don't trust other races to handle power like that. All right, let's move on to probably one of the coolest concepts and a really cool looking model, but also a super cool concept for a wizard in this army. This is a Cenari Calligrave, referencing calligraphy, because this guy casts magic through calligraphy. Basically, his role is to draw chaos out of the realms itself, not out of beings or anything like that. That's why he wears these things that separate him from the realm itself, and then he channels pure ether quartz from here into painting runes on these parchments. So this parchment floats in front of him. What he's holding here is a brush, like a calligraphy brush, and he uses the calligraphy to enhance his magic by drawing chaos out of the land and then purifying it, I guess, with ether quartz. But really cool concept, really cool looking miniature. When we had this guy kind of in, just in shadow, we're like, what is all this? He looks like he has legs, but what's going on down here? This is a really weird staff / banner / we couldn't figure out what that was, but man, this guy looks cool, and he's a cool concept, in my opinion. All right, next we've got the Hurricane Wind Mage. It sounds like he is going to be just a wind version of the Stone Mage. He enhances the Hurricane Riders. I forgot what their names are. I didn't look that up before starting here, but the Wind Riders, or not Wind Riders. They might be Wind Riders. I don't know. The Hurricane troops and that Hurricane, which we'll see here, Spirit of the Wind. He probably does the same thing that the Stone Mage does for them. They always operate at the top bracket. Since he's flying around on this cloud, he's probably fast enough to keep up with the mounted troops, and he's supposed to enhance them as well somehow. Not sure how. Maybe, re-rolling ones to hit with their shooting attacks. Maybe something like allows them to run and still shoot. Who knows? But guy looks cool. I can't, again, I haven't so far dug into or really embraced the elementary elements of the Lumineth. They haven't seemed quite as effective as the Venari elements, but they certainly look cool, and I can see, giving them a try. All right, next we have the Venari Bannerblade. This guy they described as your army battle standard bearer, which is cool. So it's an unnamed hero who's going to enhance your other troops somehow. They did mention that the banners themselves, the what would normally be cloth, are actually made of light. So that's why he can have such a giant banner and be wielding it one-armed, because otherwise he'd have to be super strong. But yeah, these banners are light, so they kind of describe it as these elements are probably moving and stuff while you're moving around. But just a cool aesthetic. I like that army battle standard bearer from old fantasy, so it's cool to see that brought forward here. And again, he's a Venari, so who knows, he may be a wizard. That'll be cool. And finally, we have the non-heroic version or non-named version of the Hurricane Spirit of the Wind. It looks largely the same. It's got the archer abilities. It's just, just not the special character version, but looks amazing. I look forward to finding out more about these guys in the coming months. They'll probably start, kind of dipping into the rules for them and talking about what they can do. And it was revealed that we're getting a new Battletome. By the time it comes out, I'm sure it'll be about a year after the first Battletome comes out. We're going to get a new one that will double the range for the Lumineth. But as people mentioned in the chat for the live stream, still no sign of Tyrion. So I am doubtful that we will see any new great nations. I think they're going to wait a while for a future Battletome in which they'll bring Tyrion and his forces and then reveal those other 4 great nations that are under Tyrion's sway. So I think for the time being, we're going to have the 4 we've had all along here since the first Lumineth Realm Lord Battletome came out. We'll probably get new Legion's abilities for the Huracan. We'll probably get a new spell lore for them, which begs the question, will Teclis then be able to cast from 3 different spell lores? If he can, that will be amazing and make him just all that much better. And more difficult to play because you're going to have, a good, what would that be, 18, 20 different spells to choose from, or 22 if you count the, Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield. That could get overwhelming for some players. So the Lumineth are definitely shaping into an advanced player's army. They're not your typical point and click. I guess you probably could make them that way, but for them to be truly competitive, you're going to have to really be poring over those spells, really kind of planning out, all right, I want to be able to use this spell to combo with this spell, to combo with this ability to accomplish this goal. There's a lot going on with the Lumineth, and that is why I am so stoked for this, even though I am kind of like, man, really, you 2 Battletomes in a year, you couldn't just wait, or you couldn't, push forward these second batch of them, but that's okay. If I were a collector of an army other than the ones I do collect, I would be kind of salty about what's going on here, because they are certainly giving the Lumineth a ton of love. They now have more units than most of the new factions, those factions that weren't ported over from the old world. they now have more units than most of those, So if you are a Deepkin, if you're a Destruction player, I'd be really kind of upset because the Auric War Clans really need some love. They get a new Battletome with essentially no new units, with very few to play anyways. So, you're looking at your Flesh Eater Courts who have very, very few units, so hopefully they're working on some of those. And let's go ahead and move past the Lumineth, as exciting as they are, and talk about a few of the other things that they revealed and what those might portent for the futures. All right, continuing on here, we've got a new Night Haunt character, the Trollgast Cruciator, which, okay, it's an amazing model, but I'm kind of curious as to how this guy's going to be different than a Spirit of Torment. It's a very interesting. I guess it's thematic for the for the Night Haunt. They have all kinds of these are the spirits that are being punished by Nagash. So this is the first in a string of just hero characters we're gonna get. So no necessarily hint that we're getting a new Night Haunt Battletome or a new Battletome for any of these armies, although I would assume that either right before or right after 3rd edition drops that we probably will get a new Night Haunt Battletome, a new Stormcast Battletome, as we see a new named character for for the Stormcast Eternals. This is Gardist Steel Soul, who I guess is a star of a novel, Hallowed Knights Black Pyramid, so he will be a Hallowed Knights character, which not the best storm host in the world, but I guess not bad. He's a Lord Celestant, so he'll be a named Lord Celestant, so kind of like Gabriel Sherheart, so I expect to see some of the abilities of a Lord Celestant with some unique twist on it. Cool for those people who are fans of the novels, but not something that the Stormcast were really lacking. Although I guess you could say named characters from other Storm hosts were lacking, except for there are so many Storm hosts that trying to provide a named character for each and then assigning those Storm host keywords to them means that while this guy could have the coolest abilities around, if I play Anvils of the Heldenhammer, suddenly this guy's not any good to me. So, cool pose, cool miniature. I love the breastplate here. It looks awesome. But anyways, so we've got a new named character for the Stormcast. Moving on, we've got a new White King. Now, he did say he's labeled here as, company, the Death Rattle, but they, in the live stream, said he'd have the Soul Blight, that he was part of Soul Blight. So I'm not sure if he's going to have the Soul Blight keyword or the Death Rattle keyword, which is, frustrating because I know there's a lot of people who are hankering for a new Soul Blight Battletome, but I don't think we're likely to get a separate, well, I shouldn't say that. I think it's a toss-up whether or not Legions of Nagash will be broken up into separate books, and then we'll get a Death. It doesn't seem like Death Rattle would be a good book on its own. It would probably be something common to all of the Legions of Nagash, I would think. But maybe you'll have a Soul Blight book. Maybe you'll have I don't know. Deathwalkers, probably not. So it's really hard to say what they're going to do with the Legions of Nagash. They've kind of painted themselves into a weird corner with the keywords that they're giving them. But man, this guy's a cool model. Look at all of the battle damage he's got on him. Nicks in his lance here. Look at how chewed up the metal is. He could paint that with a little bit of rust there to make that look really cool. He's got dents in his armor. I mean, he looks like he's seen some stuff. Cool callback shield. This is very much old world kind of death armies from the old world. look. This guy's just a really cool model. And given what else we've seen and I'm going to skip the Underworlds real quick and run down to the Cursed City with, we got a bunch of hero stuff. I don't know that these will necessarily be incorporated into any armies, but maybe they will, maybe they won't. So let's move past them to the bad guys, to the opponents in the Cursed City game. There's a lot of cool stuff here that definitely could play into a Legions of Nagash style book or any breakout book. So you've got bat swarms, you've got rat swarms, undead rat swarms. You've got the coolest thing ever, zombie ogres. So man, that is freaking cool. I'd love to see these guys in an Age of Sigmar army. Now the cool thing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said that these guys will include war scrolls for use in Age of Sigmar. Now, how those will happen, whether or not they're going to be special units like the Underworlds models tend to be, or how they're going to be represented, I'm not sure. But man, those are some cool guys. Then we got some new, I guess you'd call them death rattle units. They've got a bunch of different poses. This is a great upgrade for death. I'd love to see a box set of these guys so you could build a full, death rattle army. 40 man blocks of skeletons. These are some interesting zombie-like characters. They're all carrying like the top of their coffins and or grave sites, but they're also either got a tree growing through them. They've been spiked. A lot of them have been spiked. Actually, they've all been spiked. If you here, they've got us spike through the mouth, spike through the chest. So their people's attempts to keep the undead down did not work. But yeah, so they've all got some sort of spike coming at them, which is cool. So yeah, and then you've got some special character ones. This is an upgrade of a Vargulf. I forget what they call him in the game. They didn't put his name, but this is a special like zombie master kind of character. These are some feral vampires, 3 different poses of feral vampires, so that's pretty awesome. And then the big bad for the game, an ogre vampire. So these can really enhance some Legions of Nagash armies, so I would not be surprised to get a new codex for them at some point. The Legions of Nagash definitely need a good update, so however they break them up or whatever. Here's his second in command, who very much feels like a Vampire Coast pirate vampire. And then you've got like a leader character for the death rattle units. That's his role in the game. I don't know what you would end up doing with him. If his weapon is a little too different from the rest, so maybe he's a Graveguard kind of model. Maybe he's a special character. I don't know. Going forward into Age of Sigmar versus in this game itself, the game looks pretty cool. It's got some cool. Here's the heroic ones. Again, these 2 guys could be in a Cities of Sigmar army. There you go, somebody who could be in a KO army, a Sylvaneth army, probably again a Cities of Sigmar. Possibly, it looks like this guy is a Shaiish mage, so he could be in a Legions of Nagash army, or he could be in a Cities of Sigmar army. He just specializes in Shaiishan magic, like an Amber wizard. This guy or girl, probably a Cities of Sigmar army. She's got the twin-tailed comets, some sort of priestess or something like that, or maybe a wizard. Again, I skipped that part of the live stream. And then a cool special character, ogre. Dude looks awesome. I hope he would get like named special character rules for an ogre army. That would be awesome. And then the final thing from the reveal was the Savage Orc warband, Bonesplitters, I guess, warband. This is a great upgrade for the bow boys. Yeah, it's just a really cool pose. I hope that these get translated. Here's a shaman, cool little mask. It's got a little like maybe rogue idol kind of feel there. Power claw wielding savage orc. That's awesome. Not really power claw, but you know. And then the guy they were making fun of with the dress, you know, wearing the dress, the Fred Flintstone dress. Cool. I hope these indicate that maybe we'll be getting some new sculpts at some point for Bonesplitters, because the Orc War Clans definitely need some help. They need some love to spread that line out, because man, they are so one trick pony, I guess two-dimensional. You can be an orc riding something, or an orc on foot, wearing a lot of metal armor for the Iron Jaws, or you can be, you know, a savage wielding a club, or a savage wielding a bow like a club, in the poses of the models. So hopefully we're going to see those coming soon. But that was it for the reveal. There was a ton, and they could have some real cool implications for the future. But let me know what you thought was the coolest in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. New videos are posted every Wednesday and Saturday. If you like our content, share with your friends and help us grow our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.